online classes. I hope everyone is watching those classes. Yes? Okay. Today is our subject English. Fifth lesson. The English subject. What is the lesson name? The shoemaker and the elves. The shoemaker and the elves. Here shoemaker means, what do you mean by shoemaker? A man who stitches the shoes or leather material type of sandals like that. That type of man is called a shoemaker. And he is also called in another name a cobbler. We will call him as a cobbler. I hope you all of you know who is cobbler. The man who mends the shoes. Here I will read the story and I will explain you about this lesson. One day, once in a small town, there lived a shoemaker and his wife. Yes, once in a small town. Small town means somewhat like a rural area. Once they used to live a housewife and a husband. They used to mend the shoes. He is called the shoemaker. They were very poor. The shoemaker worked hard but earned very little. Here you know what is the life of the shoemaker or the cobbler. Yeah, because when he works only he can earn the money. He can earn the money when he stitches the shoes, but very little money. He won't earn so much of money per day unless until he is having a separate shop like that. Yeah, like that here he worked but he earned very little. As the time passed, the couple grew poorer and poorer. Yeah, of course the shoemaker is having some money with him. But with that money he used to stitch, but he is unable to earn so much of money in that shoe mending job. That family became very poor and poor and poor. Day by day the financial status is getting decreased to that couple. Here one day the shoemaker saw that he had some leather just enough to make one pair of shoes. One pair of shoes. Yeah. Here the shoemaker is searching for a piece of leather to mend a new pair of shoes. Before he kept that leather in his house. Somewhere where he is working, he had kept that safe in his house. And that man, what he did, he took that leather of piece and stitched a new pair of shoes. A new pair of shoes. He cut out a pair of shoes and let the pieces of leather on his workbench. Yeah, some workbench will be there, some bench or some table or some stool he will use to make that or to stitch that shoes. After using that leather, piece leather of some piece leather, he left the remaining leather on the bench. And he stitched this new pair and he went to sell that pair of shoes. He said to his wife, "That was my piece of leather. Tomorrow I will make a pair of shoes. But what will come as after that?" Yeah, in every family some financial problem will be there. If we spend this money, what we'll do in the next day, how we will earn the next money, we will think how we will get the money. In the same manner only, the shoekeeper also is thinking that if I use this leather material by stitching the shoes, and what will come for us next day? I can buy another leather piece. No, with that pair of shoe, I can't do anything. What will do? He is thinking like that, and he discussing with his wife. Yes, next. The next morning after breakfast, the shoemaker went to the workshop. To his surprise, on the bench, he found a pair of shoes already made. He called his wife to have a look at them. Yes. The next day morning, yesterday night, the before day night, he discussed with the wife. They slept, and again in the next day morning, after that shoemaker finished freshing and having his bath, everything, and after he finished his breakfast, he was getting ready to go to his workshop. Workshop is nothing but this man is working in a place now, in a shop to mend the shoes. He is working there. So he is going there to sell that pair of shoes. And he came out and he saw suddenly a new pair of shoes on the bench. The remaining leather he left, no, previous day he left the leather piece. But the next day morning he saw that the remaining piece of leather also be stitched. Who stitched that? Who did that shoes? Who made that shoes? He was surprised. He was surprised. But surprise means, what do you mean? He was so anxiety. I stitched only one pair of shoes, no? How this pair of shoe came to me? Like that he is thinking, and he called his wife. He called his wife and said to have a look at the new pair of the shoes. I have never seen such a well-made shoes, said the shoemaker's wife. Yes, indeed, said the shoemaker. Yeah, this shoemaker's wife is very happy. She is saying to her husband that I didn't see this type of very nice mended shoes or very nice stitched shoes. Yeah, and this husband also is getting happy. He is happy because indeed, what do you mean by indeed? Indeed means wanting. He wants that. He is wanting that shoe, or by selling that he will get some money. He wants some money. That is the indication of the indeed. Next, the shoekeeper and his wife did not know who had sewed the shoes. Who had sewn the shoes? Yeah, this shopkeeper, shoemaker, wife and husband is thinking, who had sewed these shoes? I left the piece of leather here only, no, he is thinking like that. Sewed is nothing but stitching, sewing, stitching. You know, if your mother is having a machine in your house, tailoring machine, she will sew the clothes, no. Like that, sewing means stitching. And then the shopkeeper put the shoes on the shop window. Yeah, he is going to his shop now, and that in that front of his shop he kept the new pair of the shoes on the glass. Because the road, when you go outside and if you want to buy any shoes or sandals, first you will check the whatever the shoes and the sandals are replaced on the glass, and then only you will take a step into the shop, isn't it? Like that way, this shopkeeper also, shoemaker also kept the shoes on the glass. Next, later that day, a lady came into the shop. She looked at the shoes and said, "Are those shoes for sale?" Yeah, this person kept the shoes in that glass. After one day, one lady, one fine morning, he is having a fine morning, or what do you say? We can say that he is having a luckiest day in the morning. One day, early in the morning, one lady came to that shop and she saw that shoes on the glass and she asked, I can wear those shoes are for sale. She is asking whether the shoes are for sale. Next, yes, of course they are, said the shoemaker. Yes, of course, I will sell those shoes. If you want, you can buy. Like that he is saying. The lady tried on the shoes. They fitted her very well. She paid the money for the shoes and left the shop. That lady, what she did, she said she wore that shoes and she saw whether it is fitting for her leg or not. And then she paid the money for that shopkeeper, shoemaker, and she left the shop and she went away. The shoemaker was very happy with the money. Yes, he is very happy. Why he is very happy? Because previously his family is very poor and he doesn't have enough money to survive. Once he is getting this money, he was very happy. He bought some leather for 2 new pair of shoes that night. The shoemaker cut out 2 pairs of shoes and left them on his workbench. He wanted to sew them in the morning. With that money, whatever money he earned, he bought some leather. Why he bought some leather again? Because he wanted to mend the shoes again. He wanted to stitch the shoes again. On that day, while closing the shop, he closed the shop and he went to the leather shop and bought some leather, and he came to home and made 1 pair of shoes. He had made 1 pair of shoes and the remaining leather he left on the bench. Why he left on the bench? He thought, I can sew this remaining leather tomorrow morning. Again he will sit and stitch in the next day morning. And the whole night he left the leather on the bench. Next, in the morning the shoemaker went to his shop to make shoes. But what did he see? There on his workbench were 2 pairs of shoes very finely sewn. Yes, here on the before day night he stitched 1 pair of shoe and he left the remaining leather on the workbench and he went to sleep. He thought that he can make it the next day morning. Again in the next day morning, that remaining piece of leather was made very fine shoes. That leather was sewn with the shoes here, 2 pairs of. Next, later a man came into the shop and bought the both pairs of the. As usual, the customer came and he bought the shoes. Next, the shoemaker bought leather which was big enough to make 4 pairs of. Again in the next day he bought some more leather piece. Now he bought a big leather piece. Why he bought a big leather piece? In order to make 4 pairs of shoes. 4 pairs of shoes. The shoemaker cut each leather and left it on the workbench. Then he went to bed. As usual in his daily life, what he is doing, like that only, every day he is stitching 1 pair of shoe and leaving the remaining leather on the bench, and he is going to sleep, going to bed. Again in the next day morning when he come out and see the shoes were stitched. He is thinking, who made this, who is stitching, who is stitching, who is stitching. Like that he was struggling. The next day morning there were 4 pairs of shoes without a single bad stitch. The same thing happened every day. Before he went to bed, the shoemaker would put the pieces on the leather on the workbench. In the morning he would find the shoes already made. We are indeed lucky, said the shoemaker. Yes, indeed, said his wife. We are getting richer and richer. In this manner, the man was thinking we are indeed very luckiest persons. If we go, lucky means what we can say. If we think, if we are trying to do some work, we will think, yeah, I should complete this work. At any cost, I should complete this work. If that work is not completing, and one day if that work is very nicely completed, then we will think, yeah, that is we are very luckiest person. We are very luckiest person in the world. At that time we will think like that only. No one can get this type of lucky, we will think like that. Like that wise, the shoemaker also is thinking, indeed we are very lucky. And the same quotation is also said by her husband also, by his husband. She also said, yes, we are indeed very luckiest persons. Next. But who is doing for us? Who is doing this for us? Asked the shoemaker. They just did not know. Shall we stay up tonight to see who makes the shoes for us? The shoemaker asked. Yeah, this is a good idea, replied his wife. Actually, some work is being done without knowing by the main person, then some strangeness will come to us. Yeah, without my interference, how this work has completed, we will think like that. At the same manner also, this wife and husband are thinking, and they decided to watch in the night. Without sleeping, they wanted to see who is doing this work, who is mending the shoes so neatly without a bad stitch also. Okay, next. The shoemaker asked, that is a good idea, replied for his wife. So the shoemaker and his wife went into the workshop the night and day. Every day like this only it is happening. Every day the shoemaker is bringing and those are being stitched. Like that one day they were not sleeping and they were trying to see who is doing this all work. And now comes these two children. Who are those two children? Elves. Elves means, what do you say? Elves. Can you say what do you mean by elves? The people who came from God. The people who came from God. The shoemaker said, how can we thank these kind of elves? Yes, I know, said his wife. Let's make some new clothes and shoes. Didn't you see that they had no shoes and they were in rags? Yeah, these two children, elves means the children. These two children are making for us very help. They are very helpful for us. And they are making shoes for us. We will do one favor for them. What we will do? They are discussing between them. And lastly they have decided to make new clothes or to stitch new clothes for those two elves and new pair of shoes. And new pair of shoes. And for this the husband said, yeah, this is very good idea. We will make like that. During the days that followed, the shoemaker and his wife made new clothes and shoes to the elves. Then they laid the clothes and shoes on the bench and they waited. At 12 o'clock, the workshop door cracked open. It came two elves and jumped onto the bench and sat on it. When they saw the clothes and shoes, they were surprised. They wore the new clothes and shoes. They skipped, hopped, they sang and danced. Hand in hand, how happy they were. The little elves never come back to the workshop. The shopmaker and his wife were now rich and happy. They had more enough and money and they lived a happy life. As before earlier. Here the wife and husband decided to stitch the new clothes and shoes for these two elves. For these these two new children. They, after as usual, they came at midnight, 12 o'clock. Shoes. They happily danced, they jumped, they hopped, whatnot. They were very happy by seeing those clothes and new shoes. And they went away. And these two children went away and they did not come again back to this shop, shoemaker. And those two children were very happy. They went away. And these two, the wife and husband also, led a life very happy. They were very happy before they are. Because in the starting of the lesson, we thought that the husband and wife are very poor. And day by day, their financial status is also getting decreased. They become very poor and poor. But now they were very happy by earning enough money. I hope you understand the lesson. I hope, because writing the whole lesson on the board we can't say, isn't it? That's why I read the textbook. Now we will come to the meanings. Let us see what is the meanings. Couple, two people. Couple means more than, not only two people, more than 3 or 4, like that we can say that it is a couple. And next one, pair. Two things of the same kind. Two things of the same kind. We can say pair means if we plait our hair, we will wear rubber bands to our hair. Yes or not? One color for one hair and one color for one hair we can't wear. The same, it should be same kind. Then only we can say that it is a pair. Next, guess. To know or find. To know or find. Yes, here in this lesson, the shoemaker and his wife wanted to know who is doing this work, who is helping for us. They are very guessful. They are very eager to know who is making all this kind of work to us, who is helping for us. That is the meaning of the guess. Sew, stitch. In this class I said no, sew means stitch. If your mother is having some tailoring machine or something, daily she will sew the clothes. Like that, anything we are stitching, that is called sew. Next, sale, for selling. You are not so kids, no, you know what you mean by sale and what is selling. Sale means a person who gives an item and takes money. That is called sale. Next, stay up, to keep awake. Stay up. If you want to read the whole night, you will stay up. Stay up means not standing on something and doing some work, not that kind. Stay up means if you want to read the whole night, you will stay up without sleep. That is called stay up. Next, creak, a sharp sound. Yeah. If any room is locked for a long time or for a few days, if we open that lock or if we open that, that pushable steel rod, then we can see the sound of that door while you are pushing the door inside. It will give some kind of sound beside the clips of the door. Next, elves, small beings with magic powers. Yeah, I said the children who came from the God, but they are having some powers in order to make these kind of works. Next, rags, old and torn clothes. Rags is nothing but those two children used to wear torn clothes, torn clothes. Torn clothes means, I hope you know, the clothes which are very ugly and which is teared. those type of shoes or those type of clothes are called rags. Next, surprise. A feeling when something sudden happens. Yes, they were very surprised. This shoemaker and his wife. Yes, they are very surprised because these elves are making the every work for them and they are helping for that family. Next, try on, wear and see. These elves try to wear those shoes and clothes. They wear and they were very happy. And these are the meanings for this lesson. And I hope you understand the lesson and these meanings. Please note these meanings in your notebook. And you are keeping a separate English notes, I think so. You just note down these meanings. And questions I will give below.